Do you think the Knicks would be in a game 7 or had won the series if they had won game 1?
I do 100% because
You think so?
I don't think they lose game 2 if they won game 1. I think they came out flat.
Right. Did
I
you
think
hear the
they
crowd game 2? Like
was
there was a noticeable drop off. Like they were
yeah.
obviously loud, but there was a cloud over that. I don't know. Like there was definitely just a tension that was there. And then game 5, I mean, when you're down 3-1, you kind of have
Yeah.
nothing to lose. So I felt like we sort of sounded like we did game 6 against Boston.
That was possibly the worst way you could enter a series because that tension, like you mentioned, carried with that team throughout the entire series, especially when you fall behind 2-0. But even after game 1, that was a historic collapse, mind you. That has to go down as a top 3. I don't know the actual stat for that collapse,
Oh,
but
I made a list.
okay, let's hear it.
Thank you. I went to the archives.
He was so happy.
Yes, a Tuesday list.
Thank you.
Oh man,
That also, just so everybody knows,
Yes.
that was not set up. There was no question asked. That just Dugan was waiting, didn't say anything to anybody.
I was waiting.
Saw us
Probably on
As
the
soon
bus
as game
tonight.
1 was over, I sat up in my bed and I stared at the
he
ceiling. I was
came
like, I'm gonna make a
loaded,
list
ladies
about
and
this.
gents. This kid, I love it.
If there's going to be one positive thing that comes out of this, so the Knicks still make the conference finals for 25 years, and you're playing the same team that eliminated you the last 3 times you made it past the second round. And you know the Pacers are capable of this, but even when they were up like 17 with 8 minutes to go, when they were up like 11 with 2 minutes to go, you thought, I mean, for a ball to go 20 feet in the air and all it has to do is even graze the rim, that might be worse than Kawhi Leonard's make, because at least that had a little bit of touch on that. I think Halliburton was trying to hit a hero shot and he got lucky. But when you take that into consideration, there was only 4 other games I could think of that probably approached this, because you also have to consider the Knicks haven't made the finals in 25 years. Mike, turn off your car. All right, so very, very quickly, because I know we have
Little
6
beach
people
traffic.
here today. 2013, San Antonio was 30 seconds away from a title. Kawhi Leonard misses 1 of 2. LeBron hits a 3. Chris Bosh's famous rebound. Ray Allen hits the shot. That's about as close as a team has come to winning without winning it. But I would argue the Spurs had already won 4 titles. And as much as it hurt, they weren't in the Knicks situation. 1998, Utah against Chicago. You're going up against a Bulls team that's completely depleted. Rodman's basically retired. Jordan's taken off every other possession because he's the only guy. Pippen has no back. And you're 40 seconds away from going to a game 7 at home and probably being favored to win the title. And then Jordan makes 3 plays in 30 seconds and your window's over. And just very quickly, the other 2, 2002 Sacramento. That might be the worst because they played well enough to win, but David Stern wouldn't allow it. And the 1969 NBA Finals, Game 7.
Jeez.
Jerry West finally gets some help. Elgin Baylor's a little old in the tooth, but he gets they get Wilt Chamberlain. They've lost to the Celtics 6 times already, and they're finally favored. And Bill Russell, who's not even a complete player, he's a player coach, beats him in Los Angeles.
Joe,
So,
I'm shocked.
That's about it.
I'm shocked 2 games were one game and then there's a regular season game I'm thinking of. But
regular season can't count.
Yeah, you're talking playoffs. So what about the Pacers Knicks? Reggie Miller, I think, what was it, 9 points in how many seconds? I forget how many seconds, but that has to be on that list.
But that was second round and we won the series.
Yeah, true.
I felt like, I guess if we won the series, this wouldn't be ranked as high. But looking back, I mean, that it was basically worst case scenario. This was like the difference.
Well, where do you put game 1 on that list that you just named us?
I'm sorry I fucked up that list, guys. I think I left a few out.
Well, the only one that,
I'd say 3rd or 4th because it's not the finals. But I think the fact that the Knicks haven't been close in 25 years, and that's the first game once you get to the Final Four. Like, you have to root for your team, but you can't tell yourself that didn't take you out of it a little bit.
It 100% did. I would even maybe put that, I know you're talking finals here, but what it did to the momentum of the Knicks, who just knocked off the defending champions in 6 games and were riding their high horse, and this was a rematch of last year's series, and they get off to this 16-point lead they have with how many minutes left? 2-3 minutes left in the game, and then all of a sudden Nembhard just plays the game of his life. Nobody could see that coming from a mile away. The guy had like 10, 12 points going into the final 2 minutes, and all of a sudden he can't miss a 3-pointer and finishes the game with close to 30 points. So, like, that dagger at home in front of Celebrity Row, like, that's almost impossible to come back from. Like, after that game, I sat there and I wanted to be optimistic. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't come back from that game. I said the Knicks lost that series that night. And I wanted to come back the next day and be like, yeah, if we get game 2, maybe we'll, go down swinging. But I just knew it. I knew we were going to probably lose game 2. I knew we were going to go into Indiana and be in a tough situation where our backs are against the wall. And that's what happened. Like, of course, they picked up game 3, but they could never rebound. They needed to get game 4 to even call it a series, and they didn't get game 4. And then they have that awesome game at home. Game 5 gave Knicks fans all this hope, but it was false hope. We knew like something was going to happen. Even the first half when the Knicks were toying with the Pacers and they went into halftime down by 4 points, it was like, it never really felt like it was the Knicks game to win. It felt like it was the Knicks game to lose. It felt like it eventually was going to be a 10, 20-point swing like it eventually happened in the third quarter. And honestly, and Mike, I'm going to swing this over to you because you were talking about this a big chunk of the playoffs. But
I have another list.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't.
but Mike was talking about the coaching adjustments from Thibodeau this whole entire playoffs. And we saw from a good coach in Carlisle what he did to Brunson in game 6, where every time Brunson crossed the half court line, there was a second person in his face. And it was kind of like what happened in the Pistons series. I think the Pistons coach is a heck of a coach. He had a guy trailing Cat the entire series. He said, we'll let Brunson score his points. We're not going to let Cat beat us. So like, that's what good coaches do. They make defensive adjustments. So Mike, you were seeing this the entire playoff, that Thibs was just kind of a he just couldn't get the job done in your eyes, right?
No, yeah, I was sour on him. Unfortunately, I think from series 1 against the Pistons, there were like, I feel like a good coach is very proactive. He's a good coach, and I'm not saying he's not a good coach. Let me rephrase that. I feel like the coaches that we played against, who are also good coaches, were very proactive in their game plans, their in-game adjustments coming out of halftime. And the Knicks, everything they did was reactive. Everything was a reaction to what they were seeing. I don't feel like there was any point where, and I hate to kill him for this, but I don't feel like there was any point where he set the tone of the game. I just don't. Like, even the blowouts we had where we'd win, the blowout against, either way,
Boston?
There you go, against Boston. Even that game, I never felt like he was proactive. I think it was just kind of the Knicks got up on him, and they kept piling on, and the Celtics shot themselves out of the game, more so than something that Thibs did. He also, it's to me, and I still harp on this, and I know me and you kind of argued about it earlier today as well, is that we didn't use our bench at all until he was forced to use the bench, and then he realized what he had. And to me, it's like, I understand that's his coaching style, and it's always been his coaching style. And, I won't denounce that the Knicks didn't give him the best bench, but at the end of the day, they built a team that I do think that he felt was his team and how he wanted it. And he didn't adjust till he was forced to adjust. He didn't make any in-game adjustments with the bench. I'm so disappointed in everything about this playoff run. And it's sad to say that because we went to Eastern Conference Finals. But everything, like I said, a good coach is not reactionary. A good coach is proactive and sets a pace, and we just didn't do that. The games we won were because we were hot. And I'm still trying to process what happened today. While I do think it was the right move, and I told you that, it's still, shocking. But there was very minimal in-game adjustment, and everything was reactive. You're never going to win a championship that way.
No,
We
absolutely
should have seen more of the deuce.
I actually, you know what?
Like,
I think I said, did you say in one of our last pods, didn't you say that, or I said that we needed more Deuce McBride?
I said he was playing like shit, but he really picked it up halfway through that
later.
Pistons series, I thought, and then through the Celtics series. And just the way Josh Hart was playing, I thought, I mean, Josh Hart doesn't give you effort, but he couldn't hit a shot. Like,
No,
you
and
kind of
also
have to ride. If you're going to play 7 guys, you should ride the hot hand.
I do feel we need more Deuce. As weird as it is to say that. In terms of, I think he still averaged, if I remember correctly, him and Mitch were the only ones that averaged more than 13 minutes in that series, this last series. But Deuce, the one thing I like is when you have the lineup specifically, when you have Deuce out there running the point, you've got Josh Hart, you've got Bridges and Cat and Mitch Robb out there. I felt that lineup was it was a ball stopping lineup, and I feel like we didn't use it enough. And I understand why, because you give up a lot of offense that way, but it was the only one of the better lineups outside of the Landry Shamet right lineup. It was one of the only lineups that put up any fight or slowed the Pacers down.
Yeah, but
I'm going to say we should.
He threw it in there in Game 6. It didn't work out.
Game 6, I don't feel like it much worked out at all.
Nothing worked for the Knicks, but I think that lineup was just a ticking time bomb. It was the energy of actually using the bench that came in and made stops. I think they used fresh legs, which was nice. But at the end of the day, and I sent Mike, because we were going back and forth a little bit about Thibs' bench use. And yes, he doesn't use his bench. I will agree with that. He's been in last place or close to last place with the New York Knicks ever since he got here. But I went back to the Bulls days, and I was trying to think like the Kirk Heinrich days. And I'm sure like Joe can sit here and name you half of the bench players the Bulls had there, just because he's our historian on here. And they had a good bench, and he was never he was always towards the middle of the league when
Carlos
he was
Boozer.
Boozer was a starter.
I was gonna say he started.
Taj Gibson was on that team. Like all those type of
Dang
names.
started.
Omar Asik.
Oh God.
Yeah, I mean they were deep. They went 10 deep. The Bulls. I think it's a trust thing, and that this is any coach in America. This goes back to my high school baseball coaching. Like, we have kids come up to us and ask us why they're not getting playing time, and it's like, you're batting 1 something on the season. Like, how can we trust you at the plate right now with a runner in scoring position? It's a trust thing, and that's why Campaign lost minutes and didn't even see playing time towards the end of the playoffs. He had that one game against the Detroit Pistons in Game 1, and then once he got on the court after that, he was a defensive liability. And you can't be a defensive liability when you're that inconsistent of a player. There were games when he couldn't hit 1 3-pointer, and that's his specialty. Like, it's okay for a guy like a superstar like Jalen Brunson, because I know everybody made this argument where Thibs just sat there with his arms crossed whenever Brunson made a mistake or another starter made a mistake, and he had a short leash with his bench. It's like, of course he is. Like, that's his bench. This is Jalen Brunson, a top 10 NBA player in the league. I think he's created with his playing some room for error. Campaign, on the other hand, when you go out there through the Pistons series and when you go out there through early Celtics series, you do not have room for error. You have to make the most of every opportunity you get on the court. And that's why, like Deuce McBride, someone like that, I'm happy he kept plugging away at him, because he is somebody who proves himself during the regular season. Mitch Robinson, he did make that adjustment. Like, every person in New York was in his ear about starting Mitch Robinson, and those, it was persistent, and eventually he took Josh Hart out of the starting lineup and started Mitch Robinson. So, I mean, he used his bench as much as he could, because his bench is Shamet, it's Campaign, who's the point guard? I'm drawing a blank on his name.
Kolek?
No, the one he was playing throughout the playoffs.
Oh, right.
Right. I mean, Wright. What has Wright done in the NBA? Like, it's an unproven bench, and that's why the emphasis going into this offseason, and we've seen the rumors, is if they don't get a star, they're going to shift gears and really look at building that bench so that they're deeper. And the next coach is going to, use that bench. John, I thought it was cool when you texted me today and you threw names out there right away. You were pretty adamant about 3 guys, I think. Malone's been taken away from that list since then. One of the Knicks reporters actually came out and said it's not going to happen. But what about the other 2 guys you named? What do you see from them, and why did you put them on your list?
So obviously, like, the casual would say Danny Hurley, and for a lot of reasons. I mean, money-wise, if you get Danny Hurley, you're going to tap into a part of the fandom, I think, that the Knicks have been missing and like a lot of the NBA has been missing just because you're either an NBA fan now or a college fan. And Danny, I think, has a way of just being very polarizing, and polarizing will sell for Mr. Dolan. And whenever something can sell for Mr. Dolan, he's all ears, which is another reason why I think Thibs got fired, too, because it started getting too stale. He's reactionary, as Steve said, yes. He's very stubborn in his ways. And, you know, not that you can't do that, but to go out when they did, and let's not forget, guys, the Knicks were favored in this series, and Mr. Dolan sees that. They won Game 5, but he sees a Game 7 where he can charge X amount, make X amount, and don't think for a second this doesn't have to do with money, because that dude is one smart SOB when it comes to making money and making money for himself. Number 2, I think Steve said Johnny Bryan, which, again, you do the tic-tac-toe board, it makes a lot of sense. He hasn't been a head coach yet, and this team looks like they need a, I don't know, veteran head coach, because they have a lot of veteran players with a window that's maybe 2 to 3 years at most, I would say. I don't know if that's officially the best window. Maybe it's a little more, maybe a little less. And then the last guy for a coach who obviously Villanova thing, Jay Wright, he's not coming. Pipe dream, he's not coming. And if anybody wants Jeff Van Gundy, I might jump out my second story window right now, because he's only for, I think, like, we're going to see a group of like 40 to 65-year-olds that love the 90s Knicks that say, listen, he's coaching now. We can get him involved. It's like, no, we don't need that.
That's kind of like when they brought Gruden back to the Raiders. Like, I feel like the game at a certain point,
yes,
you know, if you're not
it
keeping
changes.
up with it, yeah.
Yeah, but Raiders fans love Gruden. That's the sad part.
Yeah.
Well, everybody does.
The pipe dream, obviously, would be Spoelstra, but he's never going to come here. And we would literally have to give up how much to get him here. Another dark horse, which I was thinking about actually on my ride home, even though it's never happened before in the NBA, but I don't know. I think this coach is really good, is Becky Hammon.
I love it. I love it.
What about the Knicks being the first NBA team to hire Becky Hammon? Because, guys, I look at her and I see someone coach. I don't see man, woman. I see someone that, one for one, knows ball. Number 2, knows how to relate. Number 3's been there. And number 4, she's a winner.
It's weird. I was thinking about that. I was going to text Steve right before the podcast about that. So weird.
Yeah. I was thinking that today on the ride home, and I was like, you know what? I don't know it, because, I mean, Mr. Dolan's got a, not that he's ever done anything wrong with women, but I would say he's got a very bad reputation. You could fix that real quick.
Yeah, I actually love that idea, Becky Hammon. I think she definitely deserves an NBA coaching job.
Absolutely.
She did excellent with the Spurs when she filled in. She really does deserve a job. I agree with that. I don't know if it's possible, but I'm on board for that.
She's
coaching
NBA
in the WNBA still, right? For Vegas?
Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you throw Hammond in there, you might as well throw in Dawn Staley, too, because she's a winner.
She can relate. I'll tell you what. She'll relate better than Becky Hammon.
Oh, yeah.
Just because she's like...
Sixers fan, though. Got to watch out.
That's all right. It's all right.
I think she'd be a Knicks fan pretty quick if they rolled out the money for her.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think that this is one of those things where I think we're so deep into it, I don't know if they'd be willing to make that kind of move. But I think that's the kind of polarizing move if they're willing to make the risk. Let's just remove Dawn Staley from it. Becky Hammon, give her a job or start even an interview. She deserves an interview. I think that's the kind of move. While people would be like, the risk is huge and all that, she would pay off. She's a winner. She wins everywhere.
She would need a roster, too, that would be very welcoming to her. And I think that roster that the Knicks have really don't give a, you know what? They respect people that know ball because they've had to go with Thibs. Not that she's going to relax a little bit, but she'll definitely use rotations. She uses a lot of people in the WNBA. Not that I watch the WNBA. I've heard she uses a lot of her bench. And just like if you watched her with Pop, like, let's be real. Towards the end, Pop's been fading. Those last 3 years where they were relevant, Becky was running a lot of stuff, guys.
The thing with Becky, outside of the proven winner, is she's been working with the best big person or big woman in the WNBA in Asia Wilson. And if you end up keeping Karl Anthony Towns, because there are a lot of rumors around if he gets traded, will he go in the Giannis package? Would Kevin Durant be an option, like stuff like that? Hope not for that one. But if she does come over and she coaches Karl Anthony Towns, I think she would knock some sense into him, because I just Karl Anthony Towns was an issue for me in this playoffs. He did have his games where he dominated, but there was also his games where he shot well under 30%. And he doesn't hustle down the court. He only uses his energy when he wants to use it. And I think players see that. But I do like the Becky Hammon idea. Going into some of the other coaches' options, for me, Hurley. So Dan Hurley's that type of personality. He wouldn't let Halliburton do the choke sign on the Knicks home court in MSG. He wouldn't let the Pacers win 2 in front of Celebrity Row like that. He's not letting the Pacers go on a second half run like that. He's putting a stop to it right away. I just think he's somebody who has that New York personality. He grew up in New Jersey. He understands it. And he shows it with UConn every single night. I mean, the amount of energy that he puts into coaching, some people call him a crybaby. I think he's just cares. He wants to win. And he does. You know what he doesn't care about? What others think of him. And that's what I think this Knicks team kind of has that feeling. Like Jalen Brunson, every night when he goes into his interviews, he doesn't care what the outside noise is saying. He cares about his team and his own personal performance, and he wants the team to grow and win championships. So I think Hurley would be great. The other one, and Mike, I'll let you talk about this a little bit, is the Johnny Bryant one. You're pretty big on that. I mean, this is somebody who a lot of Knicks journalists have been talking about since he left for Cleveland. The Knicks were very high on him when he was an assistant coach under Tom Thibodeau. And then he went to Cleveland because he had the Donovan Mitchell connection, and they deemed that to be a big loss. It was a big loss. I mean, look at the Cavs this year. I was actually watching a video today of him talking about spacing, not just on offense, but on defense. He's a great coaching mindset. The one thing, I pointed this out when we were talking about it earlier today before we started recording. The one thing I'm just thinking is we got this veteran team, win now mode. You're about to bring someone in it's their first head coaching opportunity ever. So I would say if there's one negative behind the Johnny Bryant signing, it's that. But he's an exciting young coach. It's obvious that the Suns want him. So, like, what do you see in him, Mike? Is he number one on your list, by the way? Sorry, I need to throw that in there. Is he number one on your list?
So honestly, it was probably Malone. And I think I said that too. I think Malone was probably my number one. I like Bryant though, because I think that there's an obvious connection there. The players know him. I understand that he's young and isn't proven by any means, but a lot of times you can't understate a connection. Also, I know you said it would be a huge like culture change in terms of like philosophy and all that. I honestly think it would be a gradual change because there's an understanding. Like those guys in that locker room, for the most part, with the exception of like, the bench guys that won't be here and Bridges, all of them were with him for the better part of 3 years? 3 years previous to this. So for me, it was a connection. That was the biggest why I'm so high on him, is because he knows the team, he knows this roster, and the connections there. But he was not number one on my list. Malone definitely was number one on my list for me, being completely transparent and honest, because he's led championship teams before. The other one that I was thinking about the other day, which I didn't do any research on this, or I was just thinking about it earlier, not the other day, was Budenholzer. I don't know where he is right now or what he's doing, but why aren't we? Was he hired by somebody?
He's in Tahiti.
Is he?
He's probably in Tahiti right now.
I ask myself that often. What is Mike Budenholzer doing right now?
But I mean, as a coach, I was just, I was actually thinking about that. Bryant would be a number 2 for me, but I do like him, but it's strictly because of connection. And I do think it'd be a gradual transition from Thibs to him, rather than an aggressive culture change going from somebody like him to, I guess, would have been somebody like Malone, where it's a different philosophy all around.
I will ask you this. You're talking about the gradual change. It was clear in the reports today that the Knicks felt like there needed to be a new voice in the locker room. That's why they moved over from Thibs. Knowing that he was an assistant coach under Thibs for 3 years, and that he was a part of the past 5 years and the recipe that built into this winning team, and that's a positive in itself. But knowing that the Knicks are looking for something different, does that make you think any like? I don't know. Does that make you think that they might be looking elsewhere due to those reasons?
So as the hours have gone on, it definitely seems like they're looking elsewhere. I mean, it looks like they're going to have a really open canvas on who they're going to go with. I assume that anybody that the Knicks sign, and I actually think you pointed this out, anybody the Knicks sign, they want somebody that's going to be, I don't want to say moldable, but they're going to listen to what, the front office wants. And I don't know, if I was a young upshot coach like Johnny Bryant, would I want to come somewhere where I couldn't use my own philosophies and my own game plan? Probably not. So yeah, I don't know. He was number 2 for me. But I think you're correct. I think as the hours have gone on, I've softened a little bit on it, or a lot of it, I should say. I think that, there's a parallel to James Dolan and what he does. I think he's a creature of habit. And if you ask any Rangers fan, which I think, John, you're a Rangers fan, tell me this doesn't mirror when Turk got fired and Laviolette.
I was about to say, once a Ranger, always a Ranger.
Yep.
Once a guard employee, always a guard employee. Which is why I don't think Mr. Dolan's going to go outside the box. So, I mean, even though he's never been a head coach, it's something he's familiar with, and he always does that. Not that it's right or wrong. Well, it hasn't been right for the Knicks. I mean, look what he did with Isaiah.
He's willing to take chances on his guys, though.
Yes, and Mr. Dolan always is willing to spend the money. That's one thing you cannot say that he's not willing to do. He's always willing to shill it out because he wants a winner. It's just it hasn't happened.
Yeah, another New York connection today too, by the way, that he sent me earlier.
Oh yeah, so it was almost like a analogy. So Tom Coughlin and Thibs, I think, kind of ran into the same part of their career. Coughlin changed, Thibs didn't. Coughlin, while he changed too late, probably lost Tiki Barber. He still won a championship, something Thibs won't do. And now Thibs, which I don't think he's ever going to get a head coaching job. Don't get me wrong, he's going to end up in Miami. Wink, wink. But I feel bad because Thibs is going to go down as a builder, not a closer, not a winner, not a finisher. And that's something that someone like that's literally put their heart, mind, soul. He's not married or anything, right?
Yeah. This is all he does.
He's literally
this
the
is
game.
What he
this
does.
is
he's
his
married.
life.
Exactly. He's married to the game.
Yeah. So, I mean, whenever you see a lifer like that not win, World Series, like I still feel bad for Ron Washington to this day. I know he's won World Series with the Braves and stuff like that, but he didn't win it as the head coach when he was, 3
Buck Showalter.
away?
What about?
Oh, yeah,
Buck
Buck Showalter again, too, yeah.
No, I love the conflict comparison. I could see Thibs finding you for only being 2 minutes early.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the mistake he made is Coughlin ate a really sloppy cheeseburger in front of his team, and that sort of loosened him up before Super Bowl 42.
No,
that's what Thibs needed to do.
Friends came up into the freaking office and said, "You are changing, or we are having a mutiny, and you are gone."
To be fair, I thought
that
that they would
right?
give Thibs this year. I really thought that they'd give him this year to try and change. I think Steve said it too. We thought they'd give him this year. We literally Monday we said they'll give him the year to figure this out, and if he doesn't change, it'll be a short leash. It's wild to me, and I'm not a Thibs support. I'm a supporter, but not I see why
You're
this
not
happened.
An apologist.
I'm not an apologist.
You see who he is. You see who he is.
It's wild that they didn't do
casual relationship with Thibs.
Yeah, it's like a one night stand type thing. Like, yeah, you're cool. Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but you look at it, in the NBA, a lot of times it's not the guy that gets you there that wins it.
No, it's
like Ty Lue. Who else recently?
Well, that's been the biggest argument today against this firing, though, John, is a lot of people said, why? If you look at
Steve Kerr and Mark Jackson.
If you look at the past few seasons, though, Pacers made the Eastern Conference Final. Now they're in the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
The Celtics made the Eastern Conference Final. The next year they were in the championship. And then there was the Heat made the Eastern Conference Final, and the next year they were in the finals.
But they've all have coaches that have made the finals. Like Carlisle made it with Dallas, the team that was probably in our lifetime, the most shocking NBA champion.
Was he the
Who
coach of that?
else?
And to be
Dirk?
fair, didn't
Yeah.
the
He was?
Celtics
Okay.
didn't the Celtics hire Missoula a year after going to the Eastern Conference Finals? They got rid of whatever his name was, Udoka or whatever.
Well, he was
Well, what
gone
reason?
because he was finagling with the team
Yeah.
employees and cheated on his wife, who just so happens to be some
But
super A-list.
They
Hollywood.
did change and then won a championship.
Yeah. But he wasn't Missoula there as an assistant coach.
Think so,
though,
yeah.
already.
Johnny Bryant, look at that connection.
Yeah,
They liked,
exactly.
They liked Missoula because he watched The Town so often. Did you ever hear that story about Missoula?
No.
Apparently
No,
he
but that
watches-
is awesome.
He watches it all the time and like quotes The Town.
He says every day, even on Christmas.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
It's some ridiculous number, whether or not it's true.
That's
He's-
wild.
I think he's
and
confirmed it, actually.
He's a
gone
weird
on
dude.
interviews. He's a weird dude.
a great
How do you
one. It's a
guys
great
feel about
film.
Karl Anthony Towns? Do you think he's feeling great that he got Thibs fired not once but twice?
I'm not sure. To be completely fair, I don't think it's specifically just Karl Anthony Towns. I think, like Steve pointed out, the Bridges situation.
Yeah. Well, he said something in the middle of the year, right?
He said yes. He voiced his opinion
Yeah.
early in the year, and
The
but
first
there was no
round, too.
context around it. But then you've got, for instance, like we all applauded Thibs for sitting Josh for Mitch in game.
Rob.
Mitch Rob, yeah, I love calling him Mitch Rob. And in reality, it was the fact that they went to him and said, "Hey, we should start Mitchell Robinson." Like it wasn't his. I don't want to say it wasn't his decision, but when players or a team come to you and tell you what to do, it doesn't look great. And now I know it's easy to pick on these things because he's gone and now we're going to prod. But in reality, like you're starting to see the cracks that were there. The weird thing for me is how much support that Jalen Brunson threw behind him since this whole situation. But now you're seeing other players on the team that maybe didn't support him. And to me, that's a weird dynamic. And good luck. They're going to have to navigate that. So
Yeah.
That
the
goes
other thing
back
is
to
I
the
saw.
whole Dante thing.
Yep. And then the other thing I saw is
preseason.
what happens to Rick Brunson now. Is he automatic?
Yes.
Is he going to get the boot?
You can't go 2 for 2 against Brunson, Jalen Brunson.
That's
you can't
what
get
I'm
rid of his
saying.
head coach and then his dad.
That's what I'm saying. But if you're an incoming head coach, and I keep going back to Johnny Bryant because Malone's off the table. You're a young coach. You're going to want to bring in your staff, but you're going to be told, I have to keep this. So the job is super appealing. I think it's one of the most appealing, if not the most appealing job, but there's going to be a lot of guardrails on it that we may not realize yet that are going to keep certain hires away.
Well, Thibs was told that he has to bring in Brunson's father while he was already coaching the Knicks. Well, that was the selling point to bring in Jalen Brunson when he was a free agent after the Mavericks season.
Yeah, but Thibs is also looking for work.
Well, he was already the coach of the Knicks when Brunson got
Yeah, but
here.
I'm saying that it's a different thing. I feel like it was a different situation. You could argue both ways, right? Thibs was looking for a job. He got a job with the Knicks. He wanted to maintain that job, and he made the changes. And honestly, I don't really know how much Thibs really cares about his assistant coaches being completely transparent. But he already had the job. He was looking for a job. He was out of we're trying to get a guy right now. If you go down the list, a lot of these guys are in for the Phoenix job, which seems like super hot right now with Ott and Bryant there, and I'm sure there's a couple other names. Like, these guys aren't begging for work. I'm not saying Thibs was begging for work, but I don't know how many people were willing to give him a shot outside of the Knicks at the time. So I think the situations might be a little bit different, but I think this job's going to have a lot of guardrails, and I think the leash is going to be shorter than we realize on whoever comes in.
I don't think that's stopping Johnny Bryant from coming to the Knicks, though. You telling him that you have to keep Brunson's father, though. Like, he'll give him some role. And think about it. Think about
I
how
guess
much...
that wasn't a good comparison. Johnny Bryant worked with him, so
No,
I guess it wasn't.
I get what you're saying with it all, but my thing is, like, all these roles are going to have their problems. Like, I think of the Suns and like how much they're stunted with money for the next few years and how they have no draft picks left because of all the crazy trades they made, like the Durant trade and everything. And how do you build like that? Like, you really have to be a player developing coach in order to win with the Suns right now, and bank that Devin Booker's the guy that's going to be able to carry you when it matters. Because like, I don't see Durant being there next year. It's going to be a completely different roster for that Suns team. It might even be a minor rebuild for the time being while they figure out who they're gonna put around Booker. But to me, for like the Knicks job, like if the biggest negative is you have to keep Jalen Brunson's father on the staff, then sign me up, because like this roster already has a superstar in Jalen Brunson, already has a all-star center, already has two defensive greats in OG and Bridges, and already has Hart, who has completely, like, mind you, let's not forget what Thibs has done to some of these players' careers. I mean, Brunson coming over, and yes, he had that great playoffs with the Dallas Mavericks, but he was a completely different player. A lot of people, did you see that social media post where like people were talking about the Brunson signing and they're like, congrats on paying all this money for like a mid player, and nobody liked what the Knicks did in that
Oh my
moment?
God, Stephen A. Smith killed the Knicks for the
Yeah,
signing. Killed the
exactly.
Knicks.
Yeah, so people were on their case about that, and Thibs looked at him as the next big thing, and he did become the next big thing. And honestly, like, there's too much smoke right now, and with such a big market, and there's going to be a fresh outlook in the coaching position. I think superstars are going to want to come over, and I think something is going to happen during this offseason. I don't think the roster that ended this Pacer series is the same roster. It definitely isn't, because some guys are leaving off the bench, but I think the guys who were playing valuable minutes for the Knicks, I don't think that's the same roster that we're going to see going into next season. Joe, I'll kick it over to
I
you.
hear some Al Horford buzz.
Yeah, Horford. Like, what are some names you would like to see come
Doesn't
over?
that give you some goosebumps?
15.
Sounds like 2012. I'll tell you that right now.
I think his extended prime ended sometime in March, so I'm not sure how to feel about that.
I think we should give him a 3-year deal.
By the way, I don't know if you want to revisit this, but is it who won the Randall Towns trade or who lost it more? Or did anybody win?
You can't really. I don't think you. I don't know. Does that?
I know where I stood. I said Randall because of how well he played against Draymond in the second round. Maybe he was slightly ahead.
What?
And then Karl Anthony Towns had probably the game of his life in Game 5.
He did.
And now I don't know what to think.
Joe,
maybe it's just a wash, like we always thought.
I think it is a wash.
What happens?
Yeah.
What happens if Towns gets traded to like the Bucks or something? Like, can we put a conclusion to this trade, or is it just an open-ended trade?
I feel like Randall's the bigger question mark. I don't know. I feel like Towns, I'm not even going to say like he was disappointment in these playoffs, because I've watched every Minnesota Timberwolves game for the last 7 years, and I've seen what this guy is capable of in big games. He comes and goes. I don't know. Randall, he teases you a little bit. He draws you in, and then he puts up the kind of numbers he put up against the Thunder, which, albeit a great defensive team, you can't have 5 points if you're Julius Randle in a fucking conference final game. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's not even a trade worth talking about.
Yeah.
Maybe we're wasting our time.
I think we are.
Are these players actually going to move the needle that much?
No, because like, what are the Knicks with Randall and DiVincenzo this year? Are they?
I'd say similar, honestly.
Very similar.
Yeah, I think we probably go the same distance we did, most likely.
We go the distance of getting blown out by the Thunder.
Yeah.
That's actually the other positive I'll take from this, is that
Yeah.
I'd like to believe, but the Thunder are not losing to us at home unless we shoot 60% from 3.
Although I would have loved to have Dante coming off the bench this series, being
nice.
completely honest. That was the piece that I think I would have loved to have outside of, whatever. Hindsight's 2020.
Flexibility.
I feel bad for DiVincenzo, because he was talking about after the Timberwolves series, he was talking about how with the Knicks he could just sit in the corner and get hot. With the Timberwolves, it was kind of like finding his stroke in different areas of the court. He didn't really have that luxury with that team. So the Knicks were a life-changing move for DiVincenzo, and you could see he was hurt during the interview he did, or the conference they have after they get traded and they have to like answer questions in front of the media. I think that in his eyes he showed he was hurt, because he really wanted that Nova Knicks storyline. I got a question that's kind of gonna like, close out this conversation and transition us over to the NBA Finals. Knowing what the Pacers did last year, where the injury depleted Knicks stuck around with them till Game 7, and then they just completely got smoked by the Celtics. What was the difference with this Pacers team this year, where they beat the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference and it wasn't even close, and then they took down a Knicks team that were favorited heading into the series? In your opinions, I'll leave this open to the floor. Actually, what do you think the Pacers did so different in this playoff run, or are continuing to do, that was different from last year?
I think they found their identity, and Halliburton might be the best pure point guard in the league. Just the way he plays. You wouldn't think so because he's built like a wing. And I think if it called for it, he could average 25 a game. But there's games where he has you check the box score in the second quarter. He's got 0.6 assists or something. Like, he does not care if he scores, but he's also capable of being a top 10 closer. And I don't know if Halliburton was at that level last year. So
I was about to say Halliburton's step up big time. He didn't disappear. Like, he disappeared in the playoffs last year. He did not do it this year. And I mean, that man, I got to give him his kudos as a 3-point shooter. He hits some shot. He airballs a lot, but when he's on and those pull-up threes coming up the court from it seems like they're 60 feet out, it's insane. It's hard to defend a guy like that. It really is. So I'm going to say that Halliburton's growth is what got them where they are. And then I'm also going to throw into the fact that when you've got Mathurin coming off the bench for 25, it's going to be hard to win. So, I think I would probably say Halliburton 1, Mathurin's mature, getting better 2, and Siakam is that. He's a stud, defense and offense. So, but yeah, Halliburton is special. I hate to admit that because he's kind of scummy, but he's a special player.
So we're probably about 35 minutes in, and we just mentioned Siakam's name for the first time. That's crazy. The guy won the MVP, and I think he was deserving of it.
Barely. He barely won it.
Barely?
I think it was 7 people voted. I think 4 of them gave it to Siakam, 3 gave it to Halliburton. Halliburton averaged a double-double in the series. So
it was also hilarious when they announced the award and Halliburton was about to walk out.
Oh, yeah, he was walking up.
Oh, my God.
So, yeah, obviously the Pacers, experience, I would say they pushed a pace, no pun intended, that the Knicks couldn't match because, again, a Thibs coach team, you would think, the playoffs now, the half-court sets would benefit the Knicks, but Pacers just ran through. Pacers made more shots. And I want a case study on what other teams did. I'm not going to watch the film on it, but I would love a case study of what other teams did to just make Towns and Brunson not be able to play with each other on the court at the same time, seemingly in the playoffs. Brunson was hurt for that time, but when they came back, it was almost like oil and water. And that's another reason why probably Thibs got fired, because that shows me that they're going to stick with these guys. I know that's against what you said, Steve, with the roster being different. I think it's going to be almost exactly the same, because they wouldn't have fired Thibs if it's not.
I think it's the
plus Giannis.
I think it's the old case of
I think that's happening.
We're going to let
Karl Anthony Towns, Thibs, Durant, possible 3-way trade.
I think it's the old case of we're going to let one of your stars beat us, and we're going to let them have their night, and we're not going to let the other. I think it really was we know that at least one of them's going to have a productive game, but we're not going to let both of them be. I think that was the defensive mindset. It was the defensive mindset in round 1. I don't think the Celtics had it as much in round 2.
But they were hurt.
Yeah.
The Knicks were healthy this year, unlike last year. It's probably another reason why Thibs got fired.
I think a lot of it also is it was abundantly clear that both Brunson and Cat defensively were liabilities out there, and you couldn't have them both out there with the way the pace that the Pacers were pushing. It made it impossible. You want to know why? Because oil and water, they couldn't get anything going because they couldn't be out there together, because it was one or the other. And I feel like, I don't know what the minute breakdown was. I'd have to look at this, but I felt like we got a lot more Cat than we got a lot more Brunson when it, mattered. And I think that's simply because, Brunson couldn't get a rhythm going. He was out of rhythm much. He was in foul trouble. And to be honest, Halliburton could, I know they tried to switch it up and all that, but whenever they got the switch and Halliburton was on Brunson, Brunson might as well have just laid on the floor. Just lay down. Because that's what And to be fair, it was no different with Cat. Cat might as well have just laid down too when Halliburton got on. They kept switching, and
SGA does it. It works out for him.
yeah, it does. But yeah,
would the Knicks have won a game in the NBA Finals? Probably not.
No,
Right?
they're just as fast, if not faster, than the Pacers.
They were down 3-0 in one game 4.
Listen,
I
I just want you to know that I've been a Thunder fan for about 14 years now. Love the Thunder. We're about to win a championship over the Pacers.
How many people are there? More Nets fans that watch, or are there more Nets fans or people that are going to watch the finals?
There's probably
are there Nets fans?
Awful.
Let's start with the first part of that.
Yeah. You know what? Nets fans are awful. I'm going to just do a side note because I know my friend Rich. Rich, who doesn't watch this podcast because he doesn't support me in any way, is a Nets fan. And I'm going to be honest with you. For a Nets fan, he was a massive Pacer fan. I've never seen a bigger Pacer fan in my life. Like, I couldn't imagine. I was like sitting there, the things that he was saying, and I'm like, dude, your team
stole Durant and Kyrie from us. What more does he want?
Exactly. Listen,
what do we never do to the
Giants
Nets?
Swing and a miss.
Ever.
But anyway, yeah, Nets fans they're horrendous. They rival Philly fans for me.
You better watch out what you say about the Oklahoma City Thunder fans, because part of my take just had Thundor and Thunder Princess on. They have some super fans. They do. They have like this whole group.
Oh, I'm not just going after OKC. I'm going after Indiana too. So
I gotta be honest.
I want to run a promo on Under Further Review, buddy.
I'm gonna root. I'm rooting for the Thunder. I think all of us are rooting for the Thunder in this series. One of my best friends is a Thunder fan. I actually do hope they get this and they win, just because I like the idea of Halliburton celebrating on the court just makes me sick to my stomach.
Wait, isn't Mitch a Thunder fan?
Who?
Mitch? Or no?
I don't think he watches basketball.
Who's the best friend? That's a Thunder
fan. Kevin O'Reilly.
Okay. Oh yeah, you did tell me that.
Why did he pick the Thunder?
Yeah,
bro, because he's the perfect size for Kevin Durant to get the whole thing without having to get on his knees, you know?
Okay, now that you say it like that.
I
just don't know. How can you be a fan of a franchise that didn't exist till you were like 20?
Well,
18.
I was about to say it was
2008. Whenever that was 17.
Do you want me to call him and you could ask him?
Yeah, finally put him on the podcast. I'm just
saying the Thunder didn't exist until 2008. So like he just didn't watch basketball, and I don't know.
Tell him
the math is weird.
Tell him he's doing a live game
fair,
in the finals.
Actually, I'm not knocking it. I'm just curious how it came to be. Was he a Sonics fan?
No, he was a Celtics fan. I'm going to say why you should remember this. Do you remember when the Celtics and the Lakers played in the NBA Finals, and we used to go to Buffalo Wild Wings for like every game? He was a diehard Celtic fan. I don't know what changed.
I did not realize the reach that Kobe Bryant had until he showed up.
Buffalo Wild Wings.
Even though Boston's a 5-hour drive away, it was 95%. Not even Lakers jerseys, just Kobe jerseys.
Yeah, I don't know. That was probably the most fun I've ever had rooting for a team that wasn't mine. But anyway, I don't know how he became a Thunder fan, but I hope the Thunder pull this off. One, because I don't want the Pacers, and two, just because he deserves it. Why not? I love my friends.
Does he deserve it?
No, fuck him.
They're the heaviest favorites. They're the heaviest favorites in 22 years.
What are the odds on? I didn't see it yet. So what is right now?
I think it's 6-1 or 7-1.
Oh, it's heavy. Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was that big.
You want to hear another fun fact from this?
I don't know what it is now. That's what it was a few days ago, like plus 600.
Pacers first half, baby.
The Pacers and Thunder are the two of the 4 highest scoring teams in the finals in the past 35 seasons. So you're going to see a lot of offense during the series.
I was about to say, what do you think the over-unders are going to be at game time
They're
for game
crazy.
1? Are we going to be like
when the Knicks kept the Pacers to under 120? I thought that was like a good day for us.
Yeah, I honestly think you're going to see like a 240. I think it's going to be higher than that, like a 245, 248. I honestly think we're going to see games like that.
Guys, I have a fun game for us.
Here we go.
I want us as a collective, this is going to be a under further review vote. I want us to pick the top 10 players in this series. I want us to rank
communist
them.
Fucking rhetoric out of here.
Wait, like in a specific order or just in general?
Yes, I want number 1 to 10.
All right, can we all agree SGA is number 1?
Yes.
Yes.
Halliburton 2 probably, right?
No, Dugan's shaking his head. So Dugan, do you disagree?
Wait, how left or ever? No, sorry, left or in the league?
No, top 10 in this series.
This series.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay, so we can agree that SGA is number 1, so we can move past that.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna say number 2, and you
Oh,
guys.
okay.
So I was gonna say Halliburton.
Miles Turner.
I was actually it's Halliburton or Siakam.
Halliburton. He's like the quarterback. He has
All right,
the
I'm
ball
fine
too
with that.
much.
John,
Yeah.
John, you could disagree. It's okay.
It's a vote though.
No, I'm cool
You're
with the whole
canceled, John.
quarterback. With the whole quarterback when you say it like that, because
He
you
runs the
are
offense.
right.
If you
Yeah,
have an
yeah.
argument to counter it, Steve wants hate. Please put it out there.
I do want hate.
Who are they going to put
I
on
want
SGA?
hate.
It's going to be either Nemhard or Nesmith. Naismith, whatever his name is.
100%.
Nesmith.
I think they have to be 3 or 4 then, just for that specific reason.
No
We're worried
shot.
about 2,
No
John.
shot.
We're worried about 2, man.
Ah, well, damn. There goes me. Yeah, give me Halliburton too.
I already have the 4, and you guys can tell me I'm wrong here, but I think it's SGA, Halliburton.
We're going to lose count by 6. I know it.
SGA, Halliburton, Siakam, and Chet Holmgren is number 4.
No,
I
that's
would
fake.
put Caruso
Williams-
above Holmgren.
Williams is definitely
No
either
shot.
3 or 4.
No.
I have Siakam above Williams. He's more
Really?
accomplished.
So
and
all
underrated.
right, I'll give you that. So I'll say mine would be, and I think Dugan's going to end up being the same list as mine based off that reaction. So I would go SGA, Halliburton.
Which Jalen Williams?
Doesn't matter. Either one.
Okay.
The one that actually
Pick
plays
one.
well. So I would say it's an SGA, Halliburton, Siakam, Williams. I would not put Chet Holmgren at 4.
Now, is that just because you can't trust him?
No. So listen, I want to make one thing clear. I'm a big Chet Holmgren fan. I was.
7'1", gets rebounds, scores.
But he
Can
goes
hit the
for his
three-pointer.
size. He goes missing on offense way too much, and it's frustrating to watch.
I will leave this chat if you put Miles Turner in front of Chet Holmgren.
A strong gust of wind blows him out of the paint.
No, I would not put.
Yeah.
I would not put Miles Turner in front of Chet Holmgren, but I would not put Chet
No,
Holmgren
you
at
can't.
4.
John,
I'd put him at 5.
John, you have a vote. You can say who's number 4.
I know. I was kind of just messing around with mentioning Mr. White Cornrows Caruso. Probably.
Does Caruso make the top 10?
I think so, just because of experience. He's going to be
He
a
guarded
very,
Jokic.
very,
Yeah,
very,
and he did
very
pretty good.
part.
Yeah.
But Randall kind of ate him up a little bit, and then got shut down.
So, yeah. You know what? Give me SGA. Give me Halliburton. Now, Siakam, I don't know if he's 3 or 4. That's the
Who are you
problem.
putting at 3?
That's what he's discussing. Relax.
Are you're about to put Jalen Williams at 3?
Steve sounds like he's 75 feet away.
I think so, just because of what he does.
You can't hear him.
And I don't think anybody on the Pacers can match that. Like, I'm going by just not who's the better player. I'm thinking who's going to have,
but-
like, the more impact or better series.
How many 30-point games did Siakam have? He just won the MVP for the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, he was playing against a guy that has the basketball IQ of a freaking potato.
Who, Cat?
Yeah, defensively.
But
Like
offensively,
he's looking at Jordan Woods on the sideline. Hey, can I move left?
but
Slide
to be
left?
completely fair, he
He
got
played well in the finals before, though.
yeah. But I'm
Which does-
just to be
if
fair,
you're talking about
Cat
the
still
series.
got his against Siakam. Siakam didn't.
Oh, he did.
Yeah. So
he did.
I can understand you now. The way you're explaining it off, I can understand why Jalen Williams would go ahead. You know what? Fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
I agree with John.
I don't know. I think Siakam
No.
has to be 4.
Yeah, 3.
3.
No,
yeah.
I'm saying that Jalen Williams. I think John's list is better than what I was saying. Now that he's the way he's explaining it.
Just because is it like almost like the MVP situation? Is it the best player or the most valuable what you see?
Siakam's like the number one ISO option on that team. Like if they somehow slow them down and
Are they
need
going
ISO,
to be able to do that though?
Well, the
yeah,
Pacers
if you
play
get him
fast,
one-on-one
too.
the right
Yeah.
matchup, he could score over half that team.
Wait,
I don't know that the defensive. They have a lot of defensive stoppers on the Thunder. I don't know if it's going to be that simple as he can get a matchup. I don't think he can score on half those
If
guys.
you can get a clean catch in the post, one dribble and a turn.
So,
Maybe
all right,
not.
here, then let's just because we got to move.
Wait,
What
wait,
is the
wait, wait.
matchup you think that works best for Siakam
Get-
to score in the series?
Can I dispute something John just said?
A switch.
He said, is it the most valuable what you see or best player? Siakam literally is both because he just won most valuable player.
I know, and I said that. And I was like, damn, didn't I just say he was the most valuable player?
You
like
did,
20
but Jalen Williams also was a
He's
first
had
team
up
all
and down
defense.
playoffs. You're using recency bias.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he finished the series strong, but he's had some games where he's disappeared. Siakam, at the very least, he's a veteran. He's been steady.
He's been great since his Raptors days.
Jalen Williams hasn't been past the second round till last week.
None of the
Yeah,
Thunder
but they're also a
players.
young team. I mean, this is really their first. I guess last year technically was their first run in the playoffs, but this is like their first extended run.
All right. So we have instead of 1 through 10, Steve, do you want to just put groups of people?
No, I want 1
No,
through
we
10.
got to rank it.
1 through 10.
need
All right,
1 through
I like
10.
That. I like that. So
Are we
five,
flipping a coin?
5. Anyone got the magic
I
coin?
want to go to bed, so I'll just say Jalen Williams. It's fine.
I'm fine with that. I actually was just going to use that against him. That's perfectly fine. Jalen Williams, it is a 3.
No, no shot.
And you can blame John because we had 3 behind Siakam, and he explained it correct, in my opinion.
So we're putting.
I just don't even. I'm
you guys
surprised
don't know
this is
ball.
much pushback.
So Siakam and what's his face 3-4. We'll say 3-4, 4-3. We can interchange those.
Yeah, Siakam 3,
obviously
Jalen Williams
the
4.
argument.
Everybody agrees.
It's a really close 3 and 4. If we can all concede that, then I'm willing to move on.
5. Would you guys put Chet?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'd
Yes.
probably say yes. Yeah.
Pretty universal.
Miles Turner, 6?
Uh,
His foul trouble took him out
You
of the
know how I
picture.
feel about
Yeah, but
Miles Turner.
I don't know. I'd say 6 would be Neesmith. I would think because he's an offensive threat.
I'd put Caruso above Neesmith.
Yeah, Caruso
For what
doesn't
he
score
yeah,
like Neesmith.
For what
to
he
be
means
fair,
for
I
Thunder.
think Naismith just was good because he got hot.
I might put
Like, are we gonna put someone at the 6 just because he could get hot? Or are we gonna
Isaiah
do it
Joe
off-
is highly underrated.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. Neesmith is the only chance they have at stopping SGA.
I'd put Nemhard in front of Neesmith. He was on Brunson more than Neesmith.
I can't.
I agree.
I get it mixed up.
And
I don't
Nemhard
know.
hit all those 3-pointers
who.
in game 1, so
Yeah, but he got chewed up on defense until the last game.
I agree with Steve. Actually, Nemhard was probably the 3rd or 4th best player in that.
Yeah,
series.
this isn't going to be the hill I'm going to die on, so I'm okay to just, I'm cool with that. I'm not going to.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's 6, 7.
Caruso.
Lugent's Dortz.
Caruso's better offensively though.
He's much better.
wait, we don't even have Miles Turner ranked yet.
7. Caruso's 8.
I'll go with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he is better than Caruso, but Caruso had to be in the top 10 just because of everything that Cat messes up on this things that you don't see on the stat sheet. Caruso will do well.
Yeah.
Then I think it's Dortcher, Chamber, 9, and then somebody else.
Uh,
Unless you have
I think Dortz is definitely on this list. I mean, the dude's a ball stopper. That's one of the best defenders in the league. Actually, did he win? He won Defense Player of the Year, didn't he not? No. Well, I would put him at 9.
Do
He
you
offers
think
next to
the
nothing offensively.
OKC coach becomes a household name after the series?
Be hard not to.
Yeah.
I guess.
Does Isaiah Joe make this list?
No, he's barely
No.
played.
No. What about
I think McConnell
Aaron
will be
Wiggins?
ahead of him.
I wouldn't put McConnell on this list.
No,
Nope.
I'd honestly put Dort and then Kasem Wallace.
What about Isaiah Hartenstein? I feel like this is one of those ones.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
either
sure.
he's gonna
Yes,
either so.
Honorable mention.
Hold
for
on a minute.
Hartenstein.
So the
No,
reason
Hartenstein
why
has to be 10,
I would
think.
leave him off this list is because I don't think he got exposed against Miles Turner in the playoffs last year. He can't step out, but I don't think he needs to with this team. I think he's going to kill it inside.
He's been great this playoffs. He deserves 10 at least.
Well, I'm
Hartenstein.
saying that this specific series, I don't think it's a good matchup for him with Miles Turner.
So
I say Dortcher, Chamber.
we haven't put
Hartenstein.
Naismith on any of these lists.
Honorable mention, very honorable.
So who's 10?
I'm cool with putting Hartenstein on and Naismith off.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm not going to let 5.5 minutes put him over what Hartenstein's meant to the team.
Yeah. Now I want Steve to recite 1 through 10.
So we have SGA, Halliburton. I'm going to give you guys Williams, I guess. Jalen Williams. Siakam, 4. 5, Chet Holmgren. 6 was Nemhard. 7 was Miles Turner. 8 was...
6 was Nemhart?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Hey, recency bias.
I must have zoned out for that.
I do believe you were the one that presented the
Were
argument.
you putting Nemhard then?
I said I couldn't tell them apart. I don't know. Nemhard and Neesmith are the same guy to me.
We're talking about, like John said, the recent performance with Nemhard. Neesmith completely shut down. He played 16 minutes in Game 5, and I don't think there's a glaring game.
You put him above Miles Turner?
I might switch that. But Miles Turner was on the bench a lot last series because of his foul trouble. He wasn't effective. Last year he was, yeah.
I forget what the list was. We should just do it over.
No.
All right, let's switch it up then. Miles Turner can go to 6, right? Do we put Caruso over Nemhard at 7?
Fine.
I don't think I agree with
I
that.
would say I want to, just because you know what you're gonna get with Caruso, but that ceiling is a lot higher.
Do you guys realize what Caruso did to Jokic in that series?
It was incredible, yeah.
Yeah, but he
who's not
offers
Jokic?
next to nothing offensively compared to what Nemhard could do.
It wasn't that
He's
series.
an above
though.
average 3-point shooter.
It was one game. He was on Jokic.
I can't.
2.5.
This is, you know what? Nope. Nemhard is definitely the best. I would rank him higher. It's for me. It's just I can't. Nemhard offers so much more.
7
all
Nemhard,
around.
8 Caruso.
So yeah, I'm cool with that, just because they're gonna need a lot of points in this series to even keep up. So yeah, I get
Caruso ain't getting you 20.
Oh God.
Budenholzer.
Budenholzer.
That's what he thinks of the pick.
Budenholzer.
That's what I said. He's down in Tahiti, about 3 booze cocktails deep, and a freaking martini waitress as well.
He had the best record in the East, and he got let go. That's ridiculous. He was disrespected.
He was disrespected by a kid that's going to request a trade from that franchise.
Not even a kid.
Wow.
That's a grown ass man.
He's almost our age.
All right.
I think.
7 is, so we're going 7 Nemhard, 8
Yeah.
Caruso, 9 was
Torture chamber.
Dort, and then 10
Does Hartenstein stay at 10?
Hartenstein 10, right?
That's it.
I could live with that.
That's the list.
All right, 11 through 15.
I have one more for you.
Oh shit.
Okay.
Game on the line. Who are you going to?
Halliburton.
Is it Halliburton?
I've seen
over
it too many
SGA?
times.
Yeah, I have to agree with this one.
There is a YouTube compilation. He's like, I think 13 or 14 on game tying or game winning shots this year. And they're all pretty fucking tough.
Yeah, I got to be honest. If Thunder put themselves in that situation, they deserve to lose. And Halliburton will do it. I hate to admit it. The dude's a closer. I can't stand him. I probably would love him if he was a Knick. He should probably be a Knick. We needed a point guard that year when we took Obi Toppin. But, yeah, I think the game on the line, one shot, if you say anything other than Halliburton, it's crazy.
But I could see SGA being invaluable because he'll just get to the line somehow.
I'm going to say give me Halliburton, unless Nemhart is having one of those games where he can literally shoot it from a freaking boat and it'll float above water. Then you use him as a decoy and you put Nemhart in the corner for a wide open 3 to probably end the game. But the odds of that happening in any other game but game 1 are very slim.
You know, I'm changing my answer. I'll take Thomas Bryant.
Oh, God.
A little
He's a
low
vet.
post action.
And totally doing that, by the way, to be a little bit of a contrarian, but the answer is Halliburton.
Yeah, no, it's Halliburton.
Siakam or Jalen Williams in that situation?
Jalen Williams.
Oh, my God.
The dude's a stud. This year he's one of the top. He's a lot better than you're giving him credit for.
I think you've lost sight of Spicy P. That's
Yeah.
I think everyone has, just because Halliburton's not overrated, but actually that good.
And you just called him Spicy P.
that's his nickname.
I don't like it.
That reminds me of Swaggy P, Nick Young.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Wonder what he's
Swaggy P was first, so I guess he did steal it.
I wonder what he's up to.
I just want to. I think
Young doesn't have P in his name, so Pascal Siakam probably gets it by default.
Jalen Williams was all around one of the best players in the NBA this year. I mean, he's a ball stopper on defense. He's a scorer on offense. Like, I mean, this guy, he's a special player. So I'm not taking anything away from Siakam, but I would take the 3-point shooting of Williams over Siakam in that situation.
So
I think he's the overhyped Ty Warren, honestly.
Wow.
Overhyped Ty Warren. That's just kind of disrespectful.
Yeah.
That's really disrespectful.
No.
The man just made the All NBA team and the first team All Defense. Like, how you?
TJ Warren, not Ty Warren.
TJ Warren was not anywhere near this good.
What about Peter Warwick?
Yeah, whoever that is.
Ty Warren was the defensive tackle for the Patriots.
Oh shit! Yes, he was. I forgot about that guy.
Jesus.
But no,
TJ Warren
was good in spurts, but he never had a year like this.
I know. No, Jalen Williams is a top 20 player in the league, but he's been shaky these playoffs. That was my only argument.
Until now.
Thunder in 5, Thunder in 6.
Thunder for the clean sweep, baby.
Yeah, I was going to say predictions.
Love it. Money man.
I'll say 5.
I'll take 5 just because the NBA can't afford to not get at least 5 games.
Pacers will score like 125, 130 one game.
What game you think you'll get? I'm thinking, like I said, game 1. The Pacers are going to get.
Yeah, you've been strong about that. I'll say 3 because that crowd will be nuts. They haven't had a finals game in 20. It would have been like the Knicks crowd if they didn't choke.
I'm going to say Thunder in 6.
I'm sticking to it.
I think the Thunder. Let's not forget, like a lot of people were saying the Thunder aren't a finals team until they get over the hump as this young group, and their identity still is a young team that hasn't been there before. Neither are the Pacers, but the Pacers, at least, I don't know, that they were in the conference finals last year. This is no slouch of a Pacers team, in my opinion. Against that, they pretty much demolished the Cavs, who were the best team in the NBA the entire season. You know, like that just doesn't happen. And then what they did against the Knicks, like the Knicks, there was games the Knicks tried to creep back, they just didn't have an answer. I mean, the Pacers just flew through this playoffs. They breezed through it. So I think there's a lot of work to be put into that. And look at the list we just created. How many people were Pacers? I think it was an even 5 versus 5 on that list. So there, you know, as long as you have Halliburton, as long as you have a Siakam type, as long as you have got role players like Miles Turner, Nembhard, Naismith, bench players that go deep, I think they can stick around in the series.
That's a good point. The Pacers are the only team in these playoffs that haven't felt threatened the entire playoffs. Because the Thunder at least went to Game 7. Like Pacers, you never thought they were losing the Cavs after probably Game 2.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that the Thunder, they're the best defensive team in the NBA, and I think they're capable. They're fast enough, and they're athletic enough to slow the Pacers down. They're not going to be able to run the court the way they did against the Knicks. I really do think it's going to be a sweep. You know, I might be wrong, but I think I'm sticking with that. I think it's going to be a sweep. I just don't think the idea is that the Pacers have the Pacers are very high energy, very fast offense, but you're literally going against a young Thunder team that is not. They're the best defensive team in basketball, and they can throw up points quick. I think that Miles Turner is going to have a hard time against Chet Holmgren because Chet Holmgren could step out against him. I think that you can take Caruso, Dort, Williams, any of those guys, and interchange them on the other 4 guys, and it's just going to be I think this is going to be a really, really hard matchup for the Pacers to do what they love. And I don't care how deep their bench goes against the Thunder. The Thunder can match them. I'm saying it's going to be over in 4. SGA is going to win it, Finals MVP.
How confident
and I don't think he scores under 30 in a single game.
How confident are you in that?
Like, you want me to rate it on a scale of 100?
Scale of 10.
Scale of 10? Like at 8?
Okay.
Thunder in 5, but Siakam wins MVP.
What's this?
SGA steps forward just like Halliburton. Siakam swoops in.
Does he go get the trophy?
He walks out
and then who's number 3?
God.
You guys will be regretting your choice once that happens.
Yeah, no, I'm sticking to it. I'm like an 8 out of 10 on that. I think the Thunder are that good.
$50. No, just kidding.
Listen,
Yeah, Thunder in 6. I think it's pretty easy. Chet Holmgren's gonna win the MVP. Just kidding. No, SGA is gonna get it because he's gonna shoot 100 times in these games. But yeah,
I'm going to give you an average points per game. I think that he averages in this final. I'm going to give you a number: 33.7 SGA for the finals.
Below.
This isn't over under. You throw your number out. We're not playing over under.
28.7.
27-4.
All right, I'm thinking of some ideas. So we have 4, 5, and 6. If one of us gets it right and the rest gets it wrong,
are we going to be hit by a Rutgers middle linebacker? Is this where you're going?
I'm Johnny Knoxville. Welcome to Jackass.
I think there has to be something like has to do 100 push-ups or something or whatever it is.
If we're right,
if you're wrong, whoever gets it wrong, I think we need something.
So it's 4, 5, 6.
We need something good on the line.
4.
Come on. I got one.
Oh shit! Here we go.
Oh, here we go.
Has to do a suicide on a basketball court, but under a certain time. So what's a good time for that? If you don't hit the time, then you have to do it again.
What's an average time?
Yeah, this is really hard. No.
I want something.
You're gonna put an
20
unrealistic time that we couldn't hit when we
I
were
don't
18.
even know what that is.
I don't know. What's a good one?
You're gonna
I'll run a couple 17s. How about that?
You're gonna feel real bad when somebody blows an ACL over something stupid like this.
Just no one end up like who was that comedian that like tried to dunk a ball and his leg was like
Tom Segura.
Oh, Tom Segura.
Yeah.
Exactly. Steve, you're gonna feel real good about that, huh?
Yeah.
I'll be lying on the ground
right.
cursing fucking SGA off for sweeping.
We all meet up, and the 3 losers, or in the case of John and Joe, the 2 losers have to ding dong ditch 3 houses.
Get pelted with rocks.
Ding Dong Ditch is a 33-year-old man, 34-year-old man. That sounds like an awful proposition as well.
How about this? This is a little messed up. The losers.
No shit, you. That's so stupid.
This is hilarious. We print out pamphlets, 500 pamphlets. They have to go down to the beach, middle of the day. Hi, listen to our podcast. I don't hate
while
that,
the other people
actually.
That's pretty much what I do for a living. That doesn't bother me.
Okay.
We still try to get that 15-year-old discount at Belmar Beach.
Yeah.
I don't hate that.
Or something like that.
500's a lot, though. Like,
you know what? I'm fine with that because at the end of the day, I'm a sales guy. I run a sales division. That's basically what I do at trade shows. Really ain't anything different.
Are you okay with
I was
500?
thinking either that or we all go to a game and the losers buy the tickets or figure something out.
I would love to take you guys to Somerset Patriots game.
Ooh.
What
is it?
Can I throw out the first pitch?
I don't know what that is.
What if we painted our handle on the person who loses and they have to run around the beach and say, listen to the under further review?
I think we're getting really in the weeds with this here.
Yeah.
Well, we'll think of something.
That's some 2006.
We haven't successfully pulled off a podcast competition yet, and we're throwing a lot at this.
We need a good competition.
I think I still need to face one of Steve's, 15-year-olds in a matchup pitching.
Pitching? You would strike out. Easy.
Joe, what were you about to say?
You know what? I want to see Steve throw pitches. No warm up.
I said that's like some old school, like Opie and Anthony.
There goes the oblique.
That's where you were going. Yes.
I still think we should do a 3-point contest.
It's a very, very old school.
No,
yes.
I think that's the competition. Steve, no warm up. You got to get out there on the mound and strike us out.
Okay.
How fast are we throwing these days?
I don't know. It depends how my arm feels on that day.
How about that? No.
Are we breaking 70? Are we breaking 70, or you think there's a chance that you're going to pull something right away and it's over?
I think I would throw above 70.
I think I could
to the grave.
As long as Steve doesn't throw some stupid ass junk, which I don't know if he could get over the plate at this point with. I think I'd be okay.
I would throw a circle change up. You wouldn't hit it.
Well, how much break are we getting on it today?
I'll keep it simple.
When's the last time you threw a circle change?
It's gonna come up to here on you, and then last second drop to your feet.
But when's the last time you threw it consistently?
against my high school students. I struck them all out the last practice. They told me.
I don't know if that's.
Hold on.
Hold on.
Right
Is that
there.
a testament to your high school students, or how good you still throw circle change?
I was throwing a mix of circle change, curveball.
You better be real careful what he says because the students are going to listen.
2-seam fastballs. They couldn't catch up to any of them. Let's put it that way. I felt good that day.
Do your players know about this podcast?
No, so we're good.
Oh, good.
Not yet, until they found out that you shit on them. Said they weren't good.
That will be a competition eventually. I want a good one for this NBA Finals, though.
So do I.
So we're going to be thinking about this in between podcast episodes, but it has to be voted on before the first game. So all day tomorrow, that's all I'm thinking of.
Oh, great. This is going to be a great day.
What's everybody's picks? Just so we have it for the record.
I am Thunder in 5.
Dugan, you're Thunder in 5?
I'll do what you're doing, just so we you won't have the satisfaction of winning while I'm losing.
That's fine. Then I'll do Thunder in 5 with John. You guys got 6?
All right.
No. I have 5. We're all against
no,
Steve.
all right,
I don't want.
so how about this?
I don't believe.
No, you can't do that. I can't have 3 people.
My original pick was Thunder
No, we're good.
in 5.
Me and Mike have the Thunder in 4 or 5.
And you got 6 or
You
7.
guys have them
Okay.
6 or 7.
I'm cool
That
with
makes sense.
Joe, you cool
That
with
makes sense.
So we
Well,
either need a sweep.
I'm changing my
4 or
pick now.
5.
Dugan got kicked off the pick. That's fucked up.
Oh wait, no, yeah, you were 5 originally.
You don't have say anymore, Joe. You're,
All right.
you're told
I'd
what
have
you're.
to.
Go
I
Pacers.
really-
Thunder in 6.
Wait, no, hold on. I'm gonna go Thunder in 5, but Pacers win game 1. If you want to go Thunder in 5, but they win it different, like you said, Pacers win.
Yeah, but
game
then you're
3.
instantly knocked out if they lose game 1. Are you okay with that?
No, because we both got them in 5.
So why are you throwing?
All right,
game
so let's
one
do this simple
something?
because there's more likely for something to take place and somebody to
Pacers
do
in
it.
7.
Hold on. It's more likely for someone to do a dare if there's a tandem. So, all right, we're going to do this in 2 groupings. It's 4 or 5, 6 or 7. Steve, do you want 6 or 7 or 4
Yes,
or 5?
100% 6 or 7.
Dugan, do you want 4 or 5 or 6 or 7?
I'll do 6.
Well, I'm saying, do you think that they're going to win it in 4 or 5, or do you think it'll more likely they do 6 or 7?
But no, stay with 4 or 5. Let's all go against Steve.
Oh,
Yeah, you know
God.
what? Fuck it. I'm
wins
game.
so well.
I'm game. All the 4 or 5.
No. It has to be 2 versus 2.
We're going 5.
Joe,
you're going 6.
Joe, you are officially in 6 or 7 with me.
Oh, now you're getting
How
brought in.
confident are you in that? You did it to me. How confident are you?
Yeah,
in
but
that?
you were 4. That's
Yeah, but
It
I'm
doesn't
trying to
matter
help
what I have to
you.
say.
I'm trying to help you get your dare
All right.
done.
no.
All right.
You guys
You
are
know
all.
what?
Screw it. You guys are all staying to your original bets. Screw this grouping
Are we
stuff.
about? Let's make it Let's make it more complex, guys. I think we gotta get a group chat going.
Okay.
We gotta post it every day.
Let's
gotta
ding dong
pick
ditch
who's
each
gonna
other's
win.
houses.
Who's gonna win and the score, and whoever gets the closest, you have a running tally.
What about Speedo at the beach?
I got a kid. That ain't gonna work.
Yeah, if I do that, my ankle bracelet's gonna go off. I can't. I'm just kidding, Dave. I love you.
Joe's not allowed near a beach.
Yeah, we all have valid excuses.
No, and seriously, it's more likely for us to get a bet across if we do it as a team. So how are we gonna break this down? We all think the Thunder are gonna win.
I got Joe.
I think the real podcast ended 20 minutes ago. This isn't even a show
I'll join up
anymore.
with John. I don't care. All right, if you want to do it that way, we'll do
Joe,
4 or 5.
Myself and Joe
guys
and John and
Dugan,
Mike.
you have no say. Macri's your daddy, so you have no say.
Who's your daddy, Joe? Who's your daddy? Say it, Joe.
Remember that if you lose, Daddy, I'm not paying or doing anything. It's all you.
Because now I have to root for the Pacers.
Yeah, that's the bad part.
That's worse. That's almost as bad as calling Steve
I'm
Daddy.
perfectly fine.
Well, no,
all
not
of us against
necessarily.
Steve. I'm cool with
Wait,
that.
hold on.
It's
Hold
close.
on. So you want to just do it? Well, we think the series will be over in 5, regardless of who wins. You guys think it's going to go?
Well, then,
6 or
come
7?
on, Pacers win in 5. I'll.
Wait, what will you do?
All
Wait,
right.
what will you do?
fine.
I stopped. I stopped.
It's the
I didn't say
it's the
anything.
Pacers or the Thunder and 5 group, which is Joe and John, and then it's Mike and myself.
What about just the Pacers and Thunder? Me and Steve have Thunder.
What?
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Oh, God.
Mike got it.
All right. I want to be in a group with Joe, so he's officially in 6 and 7. So you guys are 4 and 5.
Dugan, you have no free will.
That's
Welcome
how it
to
is.
Russia, baby.
We will think of the punishment for being incorrect.
He's so defeated.
All
We're
right.
going to have to put the punishment.
John, me and you willingly joined up together. Me and you willingly
know.
joined up together. This is a forced marriage.
I suggested it.
But they'll beat us somehow, because that's how it always goes.
Oh, Lord.
So, yeah. So, what?
Joe,
We'll
you're gonna
figure
thank
out
me
a
later.
punishment. We'll post it. And
All right,
then
all right.
that's
Pacers
all.
won game 1. John will feel good, and then Mike will be the only one that feels bad. Pacers won game 1.
I mean, if they win game 1, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to start sweating.
Yeah, I mean,
Thunder
listen, it's
picks.
I stand by it. 4 and 5. We'll do the 4-5 group. You guys are 6-7.
Okay.
It's the Macries against John and Mike.
Does anyone got a paintball gun?
I have paintball gun.
No.
I have one.
God.
There you go.
I gladly will say yes to that.
How about
T-shirts and we get shot.
Get smacked by a bamboo stick 10 times in the back.
No, I'm not going to do that. But I am willing to say
Paintball might be easier than
losers get shot with the paintball gun in the back. T-shirts and shorts.
I don't know if I love that. We can think of better.
that. I was saying open mouth.
We
but-
will.
Oh, God. Talking about actually painting the back of your throat.
Yeah, really.
I actually think
I've
that's
seen that quite a few
that's a
times.
very aggressive challenge. I think that's a very painful challenge. I think it gets the point across.
I think there'd be real stakes.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really do well with welts, so this is absolutely something that's going to cost me.
Yes.
No helmet.
Everybody else does very well. with
No
welts.
helmet, Mike.
No, I right like that. That's it. I
Alright.
think that's the best one we said off the top of the head. We'll see if we can come up with something better. But I like Pain Olympics. That's fine. Let's do it.
Well, not the real Pain Olympics.
I think that's for you.
I'm going to email Monmouth
do that for
University, and we are going to get their best linebacker. And you have
Here we
you
go.
have to go down the a-hole, or what is it? The a-hole.
Shove it up the A gap.
The A gap, yeah.
The A-hole.
You have
No.
You have to go down the. You have to go down the.
a-hole.
You have to go down the A gap, and try to drop a pad.
If Thunder sweep, you go up the a-hole.
Are we cool with that? You can wear football pads, but you have to get hit by Monmouth
No,
University.
first of all, there's no chance. Well, at least it's not Rutgers. So these are like, B grade kids. Thank
Yeah.
God. But
What do you want me to call
There's
Middletown
no-
South?
you might have a better chance because there's no chance that a college is going to let you have a linebacker to lay out a random
If
person.
we sign off on a waiver saying they're not liable for our deaths, I think we'll be okay.
I think that, you know what? You should reach out anyway, just so I can prove my point that this is not going to happen.
Okay. I will sit down with a lawyer. I will have their representatives with us in the room. I will create.
You have to go through arbitration before the start of the series.
I will create a form, and we
After
will,
3.5 years of negotiation, guys, we got it done.
we will all sign off on it, and we will all put our blood on the dotted line.
Our blood. Wait,
God.
what? You don't need to do blood packs anymore.
Yeah.
I want some.
The middle
I
linebacker is
thought
going
that's
up the
not very
arse.
cool.
There's
I
gonna be
want
some
We're
some
not
blood.
Native Americans or
Illuminati
Vikings here.
stuff going on here.
Oh my God.
We are making
You know what?
sacrifices
I think
of our
the
bodies.
losers have to attend a Diddy party.
Joe's been to one of those.
John's like,
I'm like,
That's a compliment
sounds
and
good
an
to me.
insult.
oh Lord. All right, so we'll come up with something. I think the paintball gun
Yeah.
is logically the safest and
I think
best
that
option right now.
Monmouth University, they have it's Division 1 still, but it's not. It's like D1 AA. So
Oh, Miles Austin.
I think you might be able to survive.
That Hogan
You know
guy
what?
for the
Reach out
Patriots.
to Chris Hogan. Reach out to Quentin Lake. See
Chris
if he wants
Hogan.
to lay us out.
He would happily do it. I think.
I don't think so. He's trying to decide if he's playing corner or safety this year. Leave him alone.
Excuse me, can you hit me
What
well?
about Leroy Butler?
I bet you he'd still whoop our ass.
Joe,
Yeah, it's all. He looked like he was in pretty good shape. He definitely could lay a lick.
Joe, right before the Monmouth guy hits you, you have to say, "Hit me, Daddy."
Jesus Jesus.
right up
We're on the same team.
as he's coming up the a-hole.
Whatever I do, you do.
Up the a-hole. That was amazing. That was
Dang, yeah.
organically.
I messed that
That's
up so
right.
bad.
As it's happening, Macri's going to turn around and face him ass out. So don't worry about it.
I'm literally going to tell him, go right up the a-hole, buddy.
Well, this became an X-rated podcast. Anyway.
Oh my god.
All right, we'll close it out
I
there.
love how Dugan's on his team and he's insulting Dugan. That's the best part about the whole sequence.
I know. Well, when you lose, dude, I was like, you dragged me onto your team.
That's been Joe's whole life. let's be fair here.
Oh,
You're a
God.
man.
Poor Dugan. Dugan, you win and you lose.
Masochist. That's all.
I
poor
might
Dugan.
ask Matt for ideas. I'm going to say Joe's
you're-
involved.
Just remember, you're on my team, so you face the same
Well,
punishment.
it's June. Why don't you figure out, give a poll to some of the students or people on your team or something? Be
We'll
like,
think
what's a good
of 4
punishment?
good ideas. The Monmouth University one's going on there, by the way.
The paintball gun is literally the
Paintball.
cheapest option and is effective.
Monmouth,
We
you
get
don't,
hung up like
don't pay anything
pinatas,
for the
and your
Monmouth.
entire team hits us with wiffle ball bats.
Oh, there we can go. We get our hands on some kendo sticks and we got to be human
Jesus.
pinatas.
there you go.
just grown men showing up and letting high school kids hit them with. Yeah,
Yeah,
We got to
Yeah.
keep the kids out of
That may not
this.
work.
The kids have to stay
That's
out
true.
of it.
that's not
That's
happening.
true.
We're not going to end up on a list here today, boys.
I was gonna say, Steve, I went to Wall.
I don't.
Oh,
Oh, football story. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, we'll vote on it. I don't.
Does Cluck Hughes still do the 911
They
challenge?
sure do.
Oh.
But I can't do it.
Okay.
I normally would say yes, but I physically cannot do it. Otherwise, I'll get.
Oh yeah, your tummy. Yeah.
Yeah, I would 100% do that.
I
though.
would-
I love it.
All right, Mike
That
gets
would be a bad
linebacker
idea.
up the a-hole. Everybody else gets the 911.
Okay. Deal.
I think that's fair.
I'd probably deal with the. I don't want another person hitting me. That's not fair.
That's true. That's true.
This is how we end up with concussions: as 35-year-old men.
Yeah, they gotta sign up or do something. These people.
I don't even know if
Not
Macri
SAT.
Macri used to be kind of fragile. I don't even know if he could take a hit from a linebacker today. I don't think this is a good idea for our health.
I think being in your mid-30s makes you fragile.
Yeah.
Why am I sticking up for Steve? Fuck you, Steve. Trying to drag me into this.
Only one who played on the football team. Throwing that out there.
Oh my lord! I just
Well, actually,
envision
I did too.
Steve has all these ideas, and then tomorrow it's gonna be like a little camera's gonna pan to Steve waking up in the morning. It's gonna be him sitting on the other edge of the bed, like. Anyway, I think I stand by paintball gun. I have the paintball. I got the gun.
I don't love the paintball idea. We're gonna
It's
vote.
much safer.
I'm
much safer
gonna
for all
think of
involved.
ideas tonight.
I'm sure you will. I have no doubt.
We're going to vote on this.
I'm gonna leave it to John to come up with ideas. He seems more creative than I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely gonna come up with something absurd.
Well, let's wait until we hear Steve's idea and we agree to that,
Yeah.
and then we'll present ours so we can match it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we'll end up coming up with something where we're being logical and Steve will be illogical. So
Unfortunately, does anybody not like roller coasters? I hate roller coasters, and if riding King to Ka was one of the punishment, that would be a good punishment.
I love roller coasters with all my heart.
So yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind him.
I want you to know my wife is currently on the couch dying. As soon as you said that, she popped right up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
she popped right up. She's dying on the couch right now. I absolutely
Nice.
despise roller coasters with every fiber of my body.
Oh, pepper
Oh,
spray.
do you? Nice.
Pepper spray?
Oh no! I mean, I got a taser. We could tase each other.
I'd rather
Oh.
a paintball gun than pepper spray.
What? I got a
honestly.
taser. I got a gun. We can shoot each other. What are we doing here?
Jesus.
What are we
Well,
doing here?
I have a heart
Let's call
palpitation.
up,
I'm not doing a
what's his
taser.
face?
I'm trying to
Alec
be-
Baldwin.
I'm trying to be
I
I'm
want
trying
to hear
to
what
be
Joe
gentle.
said.
No, it's
Not.
He said I have a heart palpitation. I can't do it.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah.
We'll just make sure one of us doesn't do it, and we can collect for damages.
Oh my lord.
I'm gonna create
If
a.
the Thunder win in 5 and I die from that, you might.
I'd like to know though.
I'm not guaranteeing you feel guilty.
That would
you
be
might.
fitting. Freaking
I would like to know
lightning
what
shot,
you would have
thunder.
done because when you started saying Pacers in 4 and then you said I would and then stopped. I would like to know what you were going to say.
You know what would be the best part of that story is
I couldn't think of anything.
he was originally in the 4-5 group.
You're welcome to the show, Steve.
So would that mean that his death would be on Steve's hands?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm making a contract as we speak.
All because he had to have Dugan as his teammate. Poor Dugan. But in all
Hey,
fairness,
look
you
at-
weren't joining up with me and John. Be honest, you weren't taking the 4-5. So
He said 5 before
yeah,
all
but when I
of
said
us.
Yeah.
4, I said
I
4,
did.
5,
I
or
was
5,
I was the
6.
first. I was the one who brought
He
up.
was the first pick.
I was the one who brought this up.
So wait, would you have chosen the 4-5 group or the 6-7 group?
I literally.
But hold on.
Yeah.
So you wanted to be a part of the 4-5?
At the beginning of the segment, I said, "Hey guys, let's get some picks in." I have to
Steve's getting
Thunder in
nervous. Like,
5.
no.
Not everyone can be in the same group.
Yeah. Why don't all 4 of us be in the same group and we're all winners?
I think it would be 10 times funnier if it was all of us in the 4-5 and Macri by himself.
No
in the
shot.
6-7.
No shot. If I did that, it would either be you're in the 4 group or the 5, and I have 6, 7.
Well, no, because all of us have 5.
All right, then you guys, the 3 of you are in 5.
Hey, just
I'll
make
be,
up the fucking rules.
I'll be in 6,
Go ahead.
7.
Oh my God,
Since I'm
crying.
solo, I get 2 games. You get what I'm saying?
So 4 it's a draw. 5 we win. 6 or 7 you win.
Yes.
Jesus.
So it basically should just be
That's actually not bad, honestly.
yeah.
Macri got shafted here in the end. So now you've got to be really careful about the punishment you come up with.
I'm fine with it. I'm confident this is going in 6.
It's probably worse for the show if I'm not forced to be 6-7, but I'm glad I got
No,
to keep
it's
my
better
original
for the
pick.
show.
I think it becomes extremely funny because Steve tried to draft you against your own free will, and you fought your way out
I'm gonna
just to lose.
I'm gonna give Phil Handy a call, and he's going
I
to
gotta
give you
be
what his
honest with
last
you.
name says.
I got to be honest with you. If we do this where it's us 3 against Macri, just for the sheer comedy, the idea of Dugan breaking away to lose inevitably would be so fucking funny.
I think
No, well, he's
I-
screwed because think about it.
I wouldn't
If
lose
he
alone.
loses now, it's like, what the hell? And if he loses when he was the 5, it's like, but I was with Steve.
Yeah, that's true.
I-
Well, 5 was my original pick,
I-
so at least I'll stand by my original.
I think Joe should stay with me.
conviction.
Oh, we know you think that.
Oh God.
2 versus 2.
I think we come up with the punishment. Let's figure out what this
Let's decide after game 2.
Yeah.
I think once the prediction happens, then we could be like, yeah, I think we should all be punished. There we go.
I'm brainstorming tonight. All right, let's close this out so I can brainstorm.
All right.
I'm getting to the drawing board.
All right, let's do top 10, but for NHL, real quick.
All right, I'll let Mike and John stay in here, and I'll go to bed.
No,
They know
I'm going to
NHL.
bed too.
All right.
Yeah, NHL. I just think the Oilers are gonna win. Within 4 to 7 games.
I got the
4 to
pan
7.
kitties. I got the pan kitties.
Ooh.
I do. I'm a Kachuk guy.
I'm going Oilers.
I am too. I just hate Marchand.
I think they
Oilers
want
in 6.
they want to give
rat.
McDavid a title eventually, a cup.
Yeah, but it's so funny if he just keeps losing.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm all about comedy. Anyway, all right. It's
All
been
right,
fun,
ladies.
boys.
Good night.
Yeah. It's
See?
a 40-minute segment to close the show.